So what you have here is the Zohar with the beautiful, beautiful Pirish called the Matuk B'Devash. And as long as there's a video going on and I'm able to say the shiurim, I think that I should be advertising these books. Everybody should have a set of this if you can afford it. It used to cost like $450. I don't know what it costs now. It can't be that much more. It's a tremendous, tremendous set. To really understand a lot of the Mata B'Devash, it's very helpful to learn to know the Ari because he comes and he brings you the Ari. And when I get a chance and we're learning the drushos or the different kinds of things, are going the Zohar, and we're learning the Zohar, uh, I'll try to bring in the Ari and explain it because he's trying to do that. That is this great Rabbi Daniel Frisch. Let's come over here, and one of the things that I like most about the Zohar is the language. This kind, the way that Rebbe Shimon writes, and the language of what they call Western Aramaic is just really very, very beautiful. So let's read the words of Rebbe Shimon, and then we'll read the words of the Matuk B'Devash and see how much of it we can absorb. So the Zohar says, Vayavu Abaisa Lasos Malachto. So he came back to the house to do his work. Begin to Ishtadla Baraisa. Why? He's going to learn Torah. Leme'evet Pekude Doraisa in order to be able to do the mitzvahs. He needed to know what is the proper way to behave. Dihu Malachto the Bar Nash Bahai Alma, because this is really the work of a man in this world. And since really the service or the work that we have to do in this world, the real work, is the work of Hashem, is to serve Hashem. Boy lay Nash, so therefore the Zohar goes on and it says it's important for a person. You should be strong like a lion, but call sitra in all sides. Begin the low yishlot aloy sitra achra, so that the sitra achra should not come onto that person and attach themselves below yachol lemiftele and wouldn't be able to seduce him. So let's read a little bit more of the Zohar and see if I could keep going as well as I'm going. And let's read we're on page Kuf Kaf Hey. He says, ish. So what does it mean that he came to the house and there was no man there? So the Zohar says, Liz Gavar the Yekum, the Kible, the Yetzahar. There is no man in the house, meaning the world, the civilization in which he lived. The Kible, the Yekum should stand, the Kible, the Yetzahara, to stand up to the Yetzahara. Everybody just let themselves go wild. And then really start fighting the Yetzahara like you should. My Orche, the Yetzahar. Let's talk about what is the path of the Yetzahar. What's his style? So when he sees there's no one to stand in his way. So the phrase is Kavan. There's nobody to fight him. So then immediately he grabs a hold of his garment. Now he says this is the secret of that idea. Lamor. And he says these are the words that the Yetzirah says, lie down with me. Now, what does he mean? Here we're talking about the wife of Potiphar. So he says, V'yispasehu bebigdo, and they gathered him. So why does it say that she grabbed him, or he was grabbed by his garment? Begin the kad shalit Yetzirah alei the barnash, because when the Yetzirah starts to get a hold of us, asking lay, he sets himself up, Bakashi lay levushoy. So he starts really setting himself in the way that a person grooms himself. Bakashi lay, and how he adorns himself, levushoy gets the right clothes. The salsa b'sa'are, he starts curling his hair, gets his hair done. This is the meaning. I'm seeing that getting your face lifted or the Botox injections and all different kinds of things that people do in order to make themselves look beautiful. He says, this is the meaning of this phrase. He made that phrase, grabbed him by his garment and said, lay with me, is dabeki me, it means cling to me. Man the equal zakor is takev the kible bagagach bekarf. So a person who sees this and understands the tendency within people, he says, and strengthens himself against that feeling. Machsev, what's written about it? V'yazav bigda v'yada v'yada v'yetza hahutza. That he left there or abandoned there behind his garment. V'yada in her hand. We're talking here about the other side, the force of evil. V'yada v'yetza hahutza, and he fled. He went out. Yishbokle, you have to leave that tendency behind. V'yistakef l'kible, and strengthen yourself against it. V'ya'arok b'nei, begin the ish tazova minei, and then so you should throw it away in order to save yourself from it. V'lo yishlot aloi, and that it shouldn't gain control of you. Now understand that this is a fight that we all have and that we all have constantly. Is that we want to be accepted, loved, admired, da 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 da. This is all that we want. Let's see if we can pick up a little of the Matuk B'Devash on this. It started V'Yavo, and it said, V'Omer Od Masher Kosov. He said, Baal Rama Sha'adim Baal the Bais and Midrash Shuhu Beisu Shal Adam. The real place that a person belongs is in the base of Midrash. He said, Kedei La'asok B'Torah V'Lasos Mitzvahs Torah, and do that. He said, V'Kamen Shemalachta Shal Adam Ba'olam Hazas, since the work of a person in this world, He Malachto Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really the work of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boy, so therefore it's incumbent on the person the mehevet to keep the ka'ari, l'chein sarah ka'adam the hiyos gibor. So a person has to be mighty ka'ari, like a lion, b'kol inyanim. Kadei shalo yishlo the law of the sitra akron v'lo yuchul liptoso, that he can seduce him. V'amar aval. So let's see. He has this pasuk. He said, and it's ve'ein ish. So he says, "Ein ish yakum keneged yesahar." There is, he saw that you're in a situation where nobody's fighting. You may be the only person who wants to rise up against them. In other words, you look around. I don't know. It doesn't mean. I think it means individual people. Let's go back and read again. Ein ish yakum keneged the yesahar. There's no one around that will try to fight the yesahar v'ya'arak imo melchama, and start to wage battle, heroic, a fit battle, la'asos the Baal Tshuva, in order to make himself into a Baal Tshuva, the Hainu Azivas Achet the Gamri, that is completely and totally leaving sin behind. Ma'ar Darko Shala Yetzahara. So how does the Yetzahara really work on a person? Kevin Shiro She'ain Ish Omer Kenegdo, the Arakim Omar, he sees that nobody is fighting him. And so he says, Umasha Kasa v'tipseiku b'bigdo. He grabbed a hold of his garment. That's a very interesting thing. So see how we are. When he gets control of a person, he seduces him into this thought that he should make himself look as beautiful as possible. V'yakashet as the busha v'yisalso b'sa'ara, and so he starts putting on great clothes, very beautiful clothes, expensive clothes, or really nice clothes. V'yisalso b'sa'ara, and start curling his hair and get his hair done specially. In this way, the person winds up being very important. He says he's going to be important, and everybody's going to think he's really rich or something like that. Let's see, I think I lost the place. So let's go back. The fish gashecha yetzahar sholot of the adam, mefatecho sheyisakin atzmai, v'yakashet as the busha v'yisalsa b'sa'ara shayadeze yiyachashav. Then the person will be important. Everybody think, oh, look at this guy. Get him. How about that Lamborghini? That will really help. That'll get you in there. A makuva be'ene abrios. Ritzon Loma also say like this: Tis tabekimo, cling to him. Ritzon Loma maskil bakalos, to start with something light. She is Noah Begufo, that he should get, really try to make himself look beautiful, and Malbushav, and have a big gar. Shazahu Tehidas Hazmanim Lahavera. This is the beginning, Hazmona, Asmanuso, to start getting the person into a Vera. You like the way I look, Libo gas, and then the person gets a very arrogant heart, though. It starts bursting inside of him. Oliveras hachamuras rachmana deslan, and this could give a person into the idea of he becomes a seducer himself. That's the idea. Aval mishu tzaddik, but a person who's really a tzaddik, mizgaver kenegda v'oisech no machama, he'll know that this is there, and he's going to fight it. Pirusho, the hainu sheyipsha begada, the person should remove let his Lamborghini run down. I don't know. Sheyipsha begada hanoi v'yaza misalsa b'sara, and all of this fancy things, the fancy clothes and everything else, get rid of it. And so strengthen yourself against it and run away from it. Because when the Yetzer Hara sees that a person is starting to fight and strengthening himself against the Yetzer Hara, so he wants to lachshilo, so he says that he's strengthening himself in one place, he wants to trip him up in another place. So therefore the advice of the Zohar said is a Rebbe Shimon, is run away from it. Don't engage it. Stay away. In order to save yourself from it, the Gamri, because it's there and it's strong and it's in all of us. Below Yishlo the love klal, and it shouldn't have it shouldn't control you at all. Also Yosef Hatzadik, just like Yosef Hatzadik did. That's the matter for the Vash, and Mitzvah Hashem will get another chance to learn it some more. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator.